You know, sometimes you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh God,
Help me.
it's not yet Friday.
Save me. Hi guys, my name is Alvin Maina and this is episode 2 of our mental health show. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe, like and share this content. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about mental health in workplaces. And once again, I'm joined by the very beautiful Ivy Murugi.
Hello guys, my name is Ivy Murugi. I'm a 4th-year student at the University of Nairobi, pursuing a bachelor's in counseling psychology. I'm also the team lead for an initiative called Healing Invisible Wounds, where we just want to create awareness on mental health and mental illness to eradicate the stigma that surrounds it, and also provide safe spaces for young people to be able to find psychosocial support. I'm glad to be back on today's episode on mental health in the workplace.
So, welcome back guys. Umekuaje tangu last time? My audience wanapiga tu nduru huku natafutwa.
I've been fine. Juggling kila kitu kwa life, shule, attachments, my own personal life. Yeah, but so far so good. Siwezi complain, nimekuwa fiti. Labda wewe.
Mimi niko poa. I've been trying to educate these people based on the previous content we uploaded, and they are really loving it.
We appreciate the feedback.
Thank you so much. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about mental health in workplaces. So how would you really describe that as?
When you talk about mental health at the workplace, is basically looking at the mental wellness of your employees, or rather your staff. Are they in a position to be productive? Are they in a position to relate well with the people that they're serving? And their general output at the workplace. Are they being able to do it without overstretching themselves and getting lost in their work and not balancing every other dimension of their life? So yeah, that's how I turn mental health at the workplace as.
And there is no better way to define it. Clearly, she's the professional. So in workplaces, obviously there has to be an administration, employees, you know. So mostly employees are the ones who are faced with maybe deadlines. You have to achieve this goal. Like for example, these people that work in insurance, you meet, they are told like you have to make certain types of sales if you can get this certain amount. So do you think that kind of pressure, of course in every workplaces there is pressure, you know, but do you think that excessive kind of pressure, I'm not saying because of the insurance guys, I'm just saying generally in workplaces, do you think that kind of excess pressure is good for the employees?
It's definitely not good. As much as at the end of the day, you as a boss, or rather the top person, you'll be able to get that output that you want. But again, look at this person as a human and not a robot that is supposed to function without breaks. So that excessive pressure, okay, definitely will yield some results, some positive results in terms of the output, but it really has an interference on the individual person. And their life, their social life, their physical wellness, their mental wellness as a person, it can really bring them down, and they can experience burnout and stress and everything else, just to trying to please, because at the end of the day they know they're answerable to you and you have a lot of power over them. So it's not as good. Yes, a little pressure is good, but also know that you're actually working with a human being, not a robot.
So our first topic is going to be on the work-life balance. You will meet in some instances some companies employ employees, but then these employees get to work overtime. They get to work even on the weekends. Like for example, you can meet, see as normal company policies, they usually work from Monday to Friday. You can meet maybe it's a private business, then employees are working from Monday to Saturday, and all these days ni full days. Mtu anaingia 8 anatoka 5. Then on Saturday bado wako hapo. So they only have one day to rest, to bond with their families. Clearly there is no work and life balance there. How do you think that affects the mental state of an employee? Because they are clearly spending a lot of their time in working and not maybe bonding with family, getting to travel, you know, at least relax, get to enjoy maybe something. How do you think that that kind of life affects their mental well-being?
It affects them in so many ways because a person, you're built on so many dimensions. You have your social, you have your spiritual, your physical, your emotional. All
Yes.
these come together to be able to
Form
form you as Alvin.
Yeah.
So definitely, when your boss is making you work for long hours, it's definitely having an interference, one on your physical health, because your body definitely needs that break and it needs that rest. So you're going to get to a place where you're physically tired, the output that you're giving is not as much as compared to if you could take that rest. Again, it interferes with your cognitive abilities. You're not able to make decisions fast enough. You get things confused because your brain is tired and it's demanding for that rest, which you're not giving it. Again, we look at the social aspect of it. If my boss is making me work even on Saturday and Sunday, or even Saturday half day, and I find that these are the days when I'm supposed to be maybe spending time with my friends and family, I'm missing out on the family gatherings and all these social functions. Because I need friends, I'm not an island, you see. So it interferes with that. There are places you'll go to and you have your boss wanting you to work on Sunday, which again cuts onto the day or you're supposed to be going to have a connection with your...
to rest.
Exactly, to rest, or even go spend your day in church and be
Yeah.
able to get in touch with the Supreme Being. So it affects all these other dimensions of your life as a person and definitely has a negative effect on you.
Yeah, so like, because when COVID came in, a lot of people are laid out of work.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
And these people are expecting, or rather relying on this job for their upcome, or rather upbringing. Do you think when some people, let's say people who had dedicated their whole life into working, they don't have no social life, no spiritual life, nothing, they just do working life. Do you think they were really affected when they got laid off from work?
Of course, it had an effect on them because your whole life was central to that place, and our brains are very powerful organs. So they usually learn some of these behaviors and systems. So the moment you're now trying to bring in a change, or rather you find yourself in a situation that has changed, sometimes it becomes very hard for you to be able to adapt to that place, because it's not, honestly not easy to start making friends at our age, you know.
Yeah.
So if all your friends are from work and you've been laid off and you're now not interacting with them, and then now you have to start getting to know who's your next neighbor, who are the people that I fellowship with at church, it can bring a lot of friction with you as a person, because this is something new that you're trying out actually. So definitely had an effect on them. Definitely in terms of their social life, because you're not trying to bring in that shift and trying to find those new safe spaces, because you don't know what to expect from these people. You don't know the perception that these people already had about you. You know, they're like, this one just wants money and never has time for people. So getting now to a place where you're able to make them change that type of thinking that they had towards you. And again, now being at a place where your source of income has been cut, you don't know where you're going to get money to pay your bills and take care of everything else, you definitely have that stress that is coming in. And if you had not formed these social networks to be of support to you, you don't even know who to go for that alone. You see? Yeah, so segregating yourself and immersing yourself in work all the time and forgetting that you also have other dimensions of your life you should be taking care of, definitely has an effect on you.
So it has an effect on your mental well-being? Yes,
it has an effect on your mental well-being, because you've lost your job. This is the place where you had centered, like, let's say 95% of your lifetime on. How do you now adjust into getting new skills and being able to, you know, strike a balance and adapt into this new system where you literally have
nothing into a new environment?
Exactly. So it could be a lot for you as a person, and if you're not able to cope in the right ways, you might end up getting depressed. Yeah.
So what do you think about companies that actually give the employees flexi time? By flexi time I mean time off, hizo leave watu wanapeangwa, or even you can even get a day off. You know, like a boss appreciates you and tell you, you know, you have done a lot of work, go rest.
If you're to assess the output that they have and compare them with other companies or organizations offering the same services, you would definitely note that their performance is way better. Because if I'm being given off by my boss, if he's giving me those incentives that just encourage me to keep going, if he's made my workplace an environment where I look forward to going in the morning. You know, that sometimes you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh God,
Help me.
It's not yet Friday.
Save me.
You see, you're looking forward to Friday evenings
Yeah.
because you know I want to be here on Saturday and Sunday.
Exactly.
But if I have a workplace where I'm like, yay, today is Monday, and I don't even feel like I'm being stressed about it because I know I have colleagues that are supportive, I have a boss that is very understanding even of my situation,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be looking forward to doing that. And if you compare the kind of output I will have as compared to somebody that is just being stressed and pressured to deliver despite whatever is going on in their life, then we cannot really compare our performance.
Yes.
Yes.
The productivity will definitely
It will
be
definitely
different.
differ.
Yeah.
Yeah, by far.
Okay. So these people that get to work in these organizations that give them this flexi time, you're saying their mental state well-being is better off than this one that are oppressed in their places of work.
It definitely is.
Can you expound on that? Like why the difference? Is it because these are some of them are getting too much pressure, some of them are being given a conducive environment to work in? Explain to us, like, so that the audience can get it better.
Okay, so as I said, when you talk about, let's take you Alvin as a person, so many dimensions come into place to be able to, for us to see the behavior that comes out of you. So if I'm in a place where all these dimensions are being addressed by my boss, I'm definitely going to translate into a person that is whole. So I'm not just going to be mentally well, I'm going to be physically well, I will be spiritually well, you know, because every other dimension has been taken care of. But if for me, I'm being just central to deliver, meet those targets by all means, it definitely is going to bring a lot of friction, because I'm trying to also imagine a situation where maybe I'm not necessarily an employee. Okay, I'm an employee, yes, but maybe I'm something like a manager of a certain department, and there's somebody above me. So this person above me is also putting the same pressure on me
that you're putting on those that are below you.
That are below me.
In the hierarchy
so it
level.
Definitely causes even friction between me and the people below. And they'll be looking at me as a person that, you know, I'm not friendly. But in real sense, it's because I'm projecting what is coming from the boss. Because at the end of the day, we need to be able to meet 23 things. But when I have a workplace that allows me to just be me, a workplace that actually gives me breaks when I need them, then definitely I'm going to look forward to, and I'm definitely going to be able to give my best. It's like putting your soul and heart into something, because you know, at the end of the day, I have somebody that I definitely owe in one way or another. I can give a quick example of, I think this is something most employees can relate to. You lose a close friend or a relative, sorry. And you're just given 2 days to mourn. You know, go bury, come back, and continue functioning like
life will move on.
Life moves on. But again, you forget the fact that grieving takes time as well. For me to be able to get to a point of accepting that this loved one is actually gone and never coming back again. But then I am in this workplace where I'm expected to continue functioning normally after this burial has actually
just
come.
go home for the 2 days.
2 days you're back.
The deadline is still the same.
Yes.
The workload is still the
Still
same.
the
In
same.
fact, it's going even to get higher, because those 2 days that you're absent, work was still being done.
Sure. So once I get to my desk, instead of focusing on the work in front of me, because again I'm human, all these flashbacks, the memories are coming back. I break down into tears. I get emotional outbursts. The customers I'm supposed to be treating with so much care and with a lot of professionalism and being all nice to them, they come to me and they ask me a question, and you know, ninawapatia jibu yenye they'll be like, I don't want to go back.
You just want to dismiss them so that you can get your own time.
Exactly, because the pressure is already so much. But if you compare that with somebody that has a workplace that tells them, you know what, just take a break, come back when you feel like you're up to the task and ready for this, I'll definitely be able to take that break. I'll definitely go recharge, get to that place of healing. Once I come back to my workplace, then definitely I'm in a place to be able to deliver. So output at the end of the day is determined by you as a person. How well are you in terms of all these dimensions, and not just the mental dimension of you as a person. Because again, sometimes you find that if I'm also not mentally well, it's going to trickle down to my physical wellness as well. And this is something that people don't know. Sometimes when you're stressed, you can get something we usually called psychosomatic illnesses. These are illnesses of the body, but they're as a result of things that have not been addressed from the mind. So
things
every
that
other
are on
time,
the subconscious level.
So every other time I'm going to hospital to take drugs. Why? Because the amount of stress I'm going through has released so many toxic hormones that have in turn lowered my immunity. So ninashindia madawa, the doctor keeps prescribing a higher dose of the antibiotics, adding on to the milligrams, and I'm not getting well. But in real sense, it's a psychological issue that I've not addressed and not a physical. So if I'm also not physically well, if I'm on medication all the time, definitely I'm feeling weak, I'm feeling sleepy, I'm not being productive. So it's a whole circle of dimensions that need to be addressed, not just the mental aspect of it. But definitely I bring better output when I'm a mentally ill person.
Now, on that topic, during COVID, there were some protocols that had to be followed in workplaces.
Yeah.
Right, and some employees, let me use the word, let me say lucky. Let me use the word lucky. Got lucky, they got to work from home. You know that remote access. You can work from wherever you want.
Yeah.
Why do you think a lot of employees really are fighting for that spot? Because, you know, when it started, it was not the whole group that was being selected to go work from home.
Yeah.
It was a few individuals, maybe those
The
that maybe
elderly.
had high productivity. They know even when you're away from the official office, you still work.
Deliver, yeah.
Why do you think these employees really wanted to be working from home? Do you think because home it's a better working space more than the office, or what could be the issue?
So if you actually have a sit down with some of these employees, you realize that their workplaces are very toxic, and they definitely prefer the home setting because I'm surrounded by people that I love. Or there are also people that just prefer that, how do I call it, alone life. And they don't have people stressing them, they don't have people that are looking at them and following every other step that they're doing. So, of course, I would also love that kind of a shift. If my work environment is toxic, I definitely want a place where I can feel comfortable to work.
You need a break.
Yes, I'll need that break.
Like on that previous point that you had said about maybe an employee lost a loved one and they had to grieve, and then they're given like 2 days and end at home, then come back after 2 days. You know, life will move on, you'll be okay. You know, like that word, by the way, that word, you'll be okay, and yet somebody does not get to experience what you're experiencing. Now, do you think workplaces, by introducing wellness for the employees in their workstations, do you think that's also another positive step to approaching a generation that is mentally stable, they are healthy mentally? Do you think that's a step forward? And then you get also to realize that not all these workplaces get to acknowledge some of their employees actually need help, you know? Not all workplaces get to put maybe like a therapist there, like a professional person to talk to these employees, to create a safe space for these employees. Now, what would be your advice for these organizations that have not done so? And then what also would be your comment on the organizations that do so? Yeah.
I think I can start from the latter. For the organizations that are really doing that, I think it's a really great step, and it is something that they should continue doing, because you're a model to so many other companies and organizations, because you're treating employees not just as people that are supposed to produce results, but human beings that actually have a life, and that is very important. For the organizations that are not doing that for the employees, I think it will be time to go back to the drawing board, because you might realize that the fact that your employees are actually not mentally healthy could be the reason as to why they're not being able to deliver that output. Could be the reason as to why they're not. Yes, there could be the reason as to why they're not being able to meet those deadlines. Could be the reason as to why they're not being able to relate well with your clients, because you're always receiving complaints from clients out there that you have very rude stuff around here. It could be that they're having issues that they're actually projecting to these people even without knowing. So get to understand and get to have a review of how you're handling your employees. It goes beyond you being able to meet your targets and being able to make profits as an organization or a business. So look at this person as an individual, get to understand them. If you take care of their mental well-being, then it's definitely going to translate into something better. And again, give your organization a good image, because that way you'll even be able to bring in more clients. If I'm coming to a workplace as a client of a place where I know I'm going to meet staff that are very warm, staff that are very accommodative and are going to help me through my whole process because they're mentally well, I definitely want to come back again, and I'll definitely make referrals. So it brings in more people. You know, you look at the wider picture. Don't just look at, we have to spend as a company on counseling and doing all those things. Look at the output that it is going to bring and the impact that it is going to have on employees at the end of the day. Your other question was on if I think that the workplaces that do that for their employees are doing justice.
Yeah, you have already mentioned that. The other one was on the companies that don't do that. Because there are companies that totally neglect the employees. Yeah.
So for the companies that do that, I think they are probably headed by people that don't know what mental health is as a whole. So a starting point, yes, those are the people that you'll ask about mental health and they tell you about the kuchizi bit of it, but it goes beyond, as we had said earlier. So it is important for the top officials, or rather the top bosses, to actually get to understand what mental health is and get to understand what it actually means to have employees being mentally well, so that they're able to produce good results in your company at the end of the day, give those services as they are supposed to be. And a mentally well person, I mean, at the end of the day, is even able to become creative, you know, because my brain is not focusing on all the stresses I have to handle and everything else. I have that calm environment
at a time.
Exactly, that environment where I'm actually able to be creative and come up with all these new ideas. So if your organization is not taking care of the mental health of your employees, maybe it's time to have a review and then get to measure the results. Once you've been able to do that, you'll definitely see the difference.
Yeah. So on that whole aspect, so that we can be able to wrap up this episode, I think that maybe companies should offer the employee assistance program.
Yes.
I'm sure you're conversant with that topic.
Yes.
Could you kindly explain it to our audience, those that don't know about it?
What the employee assistance program does is taking care of all these other dimensions of the employee as a whole. So if it's in terms of their mental health, maybe including things like health insurance that takes care of these kind of bills, maybe for them to be able to receive specialist care from psychotherapists and psychiatrists if they need be. It also means that you're providing material for them to be able to read about mental health as a whole. You're taking care of not just their mental health but also their physical health. So maybe organizing things like sports activities, some team building here and there, where they are able to get to bond and network, and also engage in physical activity, because again, exercise also translates into you being mentally well, because you're able to release some feel-good hormones that help your body to just come in, you feel happy. An employee assistance program also helps you to be able to take care of employees that are going through hard times. You're definitely able to give them that specialized care. So is it a support group that they need to be able to join? Is it leave that they need? Do you need to offload some of their duties during that particular time when they're going through that struggle until they're in a position to handle all that? So getting to understand your employee as an individual person and not just as a department, and being able to allow them to work within their space, and as much as you're putting pressure on them, because you definitely have to pressure them to be able to do
you can't
but also getting to know how much is too much. What is the elasticity point of your employee as a person?
I think that was a very good explanation, and I hope if any employee is watching, you'll create a better working space for your employees. And for employees that are working in spaces that don't have these kinds of facilities to help with your mental health, kindly talk to the administration, because also talking, you'll bring an awareness to your fellow employees and also to your employer. It can be a great way to make even your boss aware of something like that, because it's a crucial thing, and you have to look after yourself, because nobody will look after you if you don't look after yourself. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Once again, I'm still going to link down Ivy Morugi's social down below, so that if you need to talk to her, you can reach out to her and she can help you out with whatever you're going through. And thank you so much for tuning in with us. Do you have any final comment? Anything you want to tell them?
No, just a reminder to everybody that there's no health without mental health.
Exactly, there's no better way to end the video. And that's all for today. Peace out.